Welcome to day 3 of your 5-day coding challenge. Today you'll use the extent of your knowledge of HTML and CSS in a practical way by beginning work on a recipe website that will progressively allow you to show off your newfound skills. But before we get to that, we'll talk a little bit about how modern HTML can be smarter. And as usual, we'll introduce you to some key concepts before you dive into your challenges. So be curious, get stuck in and enjoy. Semantics is related to syntax. Syntax describes how you say something, and semantics describes the meaning behind what was said. The original set of HTML tags were very generic in terms of semantics. For example, the paragraph tag describes a generic block of text, but nothing really beyond that. Now, as a human, you can infer the meaning of the content by reading the paragraph in the context of maybe any other paragraphs on the page, or maybe the page title and any images present. The browser and search engines, however, can't easily do that. Search engines can look for keywords on a page to try and glean some meaning, but the keywords found may not reflect the main purpose of the page. Those words might be located in a page footer or a sidebar and be unrelated to the main content of the page. In other words, while the syntax may be clear, the semantics may not be. The latest incarnation of HTML, called HTML5, attempts to address the absence of semantic clarity in older HTML elements. In doing so, it has introduced what are called semantic elements. These elements clearly describe their meaning to both developers and browsers. By the way, HTML doesn't do away with the older elements, it just introduces additional elements to supplement and add context to their meaning. Here's a list of more common elements. Header. The header element provides introductory content. A header typically contains a group of introductory or navigational aids. Where would you use this? Well, the obvious place to start would be at the beginning of your page. A header typically contains, at least but not restricted to, one heading tag, H1 to H6 say. Although you can use multiple headers on a page, one such place may be inside an article. The nav element represents a location on a page, and that links to other pages or to parts within a page. It's like a section with navigation links. Note though that not all groups of links on a page need to be in a nav element. Only sections that consist of major navigation blocks are appropriate for the nav element. The article element represents an independent piece of content. That is, content that makes sense on its own. This could be a blog post, a magazine or a newspaper article, a user-submitted comment, an interactive widget, or any other independent item of content. The content of an article could be distributed and understood outside the context of the page. The section element is used to represent a group of related content. This is similar to the purpose of an article element, with the main difference being that the content within a section element doesn't necessarily need to make sense out of the context of that page. A website's homepage could be split into sections for an introduction, news items, and contact information. Sections could define a newspaper's section summaries and links to sports, current affairs, lifestyle, politics, and arts reviews. Now, there are many other semantic elements introduced in HTML5, and also some semantic elements that have been around for quite a while, such as the table and form elements. Why should you care about semantic elements? First of all, semantic elements increase the accessibility of your content. That is, they provide more meaning to screen readers used by visually impaired users. Most government-based project contracts require a high level of accessibility on their sites and web applications. Search engines also like semantic markup. Google no longer bases its search criteria on keywords alone. It bases them on intent. Semantic elements highlight intent.